It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And now it's time for that segment I have no knowledge about. It's called the Spotify Wrap, and Chris is going to explain it all. Chris, come on down.
Well, Bruce, as you know, each year, as you may forget over the course of the year, we get our numbers from Spotify of how the show's doing. Of course, This is on Spotify. Have we grown? Have we shrunk? Where are they listening from? Or do we still have our Filipino listener? Things along that line. So, so we break it down, and I go through it frame by frame.
Kind of like Jerry Lewis being a genius in France, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
Bruce is a genius in Filipino, and the Philippines. Tim is a genius in Germany.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me when I worked at WLS. We were, Dan Proft and I, at one point, were like in the top 10 or whatever in the 25-54 demographic. And then our 54-year-old turned 55. And that's how few people determined what the ratings were. And this was an infinitely better way of determining ratings in radio than the prior way, which was just handing out these diaries to people who would just say that they listened for 4 hours when they actually didn't. They actually came up with these people.
Well, that was
people.
That was the end of Steve Dahl's career, pretty much.
Totally, that ended Steve Dahl. That ended Steve because Steve actually, they moved him like to morning drive on another station, and it was like the last ratings book done under the old diary method, and it was amazing. He had fantastic ratings by moving to mornings on another station, and then the next month they had the people meters, and he tanked, and I think they paid him off or whatever. And I'm sure, in all fairness, we should give Steve equal time if he ever wants to come on this podcast, and he can promote his own.
Perhaps Janet can arrange that.
He'll probably.
It was also.
He'll probably say
actual,
that's all skewed wrong. So go ahead.
The diary switch also didn't work out so well for PBS either. Apparently, a lot more people claimed they watched PBS than actually watched PBS.
Right. Absolutely. So, anyways, we lost our 54-year-old who turned 55. I mean, there were so few listeners that determined, what you were in the ratings. But in any event, that's just a preface as to, what Chris is going to come up with right now.
So again, via Spotify, this is the Spotify results. And I always ask you to guess before we reveal. But guess, did our listenership increase, decrease? And if so, by what percentage either way?
I'm going to be optimistic. I think we were in an election year. It was very exciting. I'm going to say we had a 4.5% increase.
I'm just gonna say if we don't have a substantial increase, we might not be here in 2025.
It's probably That's why. That's why I said it.
All right, we did have an increase.
Ah, there we go.
Wow.
So we're now up to 10 listeners. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
All right, so then
Excellent.
as we clip through these again, your guesses are always the fun part of it.
Right.
In streams, how many more streams? How many? So listeners, that's people. But then in streams, I guess people could stream it more than they did before. Or someone would listen to not all the streams, but they were listeners. So in streams, what did we increase?
Was this a percentage you're talking about?
Yeah, percentage.
Now, does this have to do with any of the medication I'm taking to help my stream right now? Is that okay? I'm going to say, well, streaming is up. And because we all tried to watch that Mike Tyson fight on Netflix and maybe got a little gun shy after it, but I'm going to say streaming is up 8.5%.
I'm gonna go with 33% because I don't know how you can listen to it outside of a stream. So maybe I
again, remember this is Spotify. This doesn't include any of our YouTube stats, radio, TV, all that. This is just via Spotify. But the streams were up 46%.
Oh my goodness!
Very good sign.
Wow.
Again,
Wonderful.
maybe election year, people sharing it.
That's great.
Yeah, that is great.
That's terrific.
Let's keep clicking through these. How many followers did we increase? Now, again, I don't have the number of the followers, but this is another percentage. Did we gain
Percentage
followers?
of
That means you click
followers.
on so you get the notification so you know when our next episode comes out.
How many followers? I'm going to say, and by the way, this is thrilling to me because I love, pouring over raw data. I love spreadsheets.
Yeah, this is all stroking your ego too. So
yeah, I'm going to say 16% increase there.
this is just to click the notification button to know when an episode is coming up. Follow the show.
Huh. It's I'm gonna go that because our listenership is up 33%. I'm gonna think that our it's a multiple of 3. That's what I'm gonna go. Is we have like 9 listeners, 12 listeners, 15 listeners, something like that.
Yeah, right.
So it's got to be divisible by 3 in order to hit 33%. So I'm gonna say that 16%.
Much higher.
Oh wow!
Oh,
49. Wow, and it's not divisible by 3. So
remember on these streams, and when people listen, sometimes it will get shared, and then people will listen more. But that doesn't necessarily say your followers, and so the followers increases the people that actually like it enough to click on the button to get them to know when the next episode is.
Or fall asleep and their nose hits the phone.
Now,
one of those.
I know that we got closer to Joe Rogan because he dropped from number 1 to number 2. I believe. Isn't that right? I forgot who number 1 is now, but he did drop.
I was shocked.
I think it's the Hawk Tua girl.
Yeah, it's somebody like that. It's
I was shocked at how low compared stream wise. How low the what was the woman that Kamala did it with the she only gets
that might be number 1. That's the one.
No, not even close. She only gets like 100,000. But this will also tell you, especially in these numbers, how everyone has a podcast, that it does not take that much to get like in the top 100 of anything because it drops off significantly after like the Joe Rogan.
After the first 10 or
after
so.
Rogan.
Yeah. So this woman, this is like a sex show, right? It's an instruction manual.
Topics.
And that Kamala felt she needed to be on that one.
Well, it's a very select demographic. That's why it's women who get a lot of abortions. I think it's that's the demographic.
Oh my! Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So this next one is what was the most listened to show of the year via Spotify? Again, this doesn't include YouTube or whatever, but just again via Spotify. What was the most listened to?
I know.
Well, just give me a general topic of what you think we were talking about.
I know. It's the one where I talked about Don Lemon, I'm sure. Right?
Don Lemon in the title does help.
I just figured because I always talk about Don Lemon.
Not in this particular case. Tim, your guess?
I can't remember any of our topics.
I think I've always said this, and so Bruce is still trying to be the commentary podcast part 2. But if you talked about stuff that Tim would talk about, which is conspiracies and hoaxes and whatnot.
Oh.
It was this one, the Russian hoax, and then Bruce got all his panties in a bunch about Tucker and the World War II podcast.
Oh,
it's this title that gets it draws more and gets people in the algorithm.
Oh, okay.
Russian hoax part 3.
So I got to thank Tucker. Okay, that's wonderful.
Got to thank Tucker and
I'm basically a Tucker. I'm a Tucker adjacent show. Is what
that was the show. That was the show you lost your temper. I think that's
he lost his temper about Winston Churchill. The Bruce is a big
right.
Fan, if I recall correctly.
Yep. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Winston Churchill could do no wrong.
Right.
So this episode was streamed. Here we go, 103% more than our average episode. So it got messed around a bit. So people got to hear Bruce swear about Tucker.
It pays to blow a gasket. Okay. But you can't do it too often. That's the problem. You got to pick your spots. Okay. But that's a tip for all you youngsters out there.
All right. Now, speaking of back to your demo conversation, your 54 to 55.
Right.
What is our most listened to demographic? Pretty easy, which, we break it down by 18 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34.
65 to dead, I would say. Yeah.
No, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm guessing it's that guy that Bruce lost at WLS. So how long ago was that, Bruce?
It was a woman.
It was
by
a
the
woman.
way.
And
Yeah,
how
it was
long
a
ago
woman.
was it?
And that's about 10 or 11 years ago. So she's got to
Yep.
be
So you're
like in
right.
her
So
late
60,
60s.
65,
Yeah.
66,
Still there.
66.
We are big in that 55 plus.
Yeah.
Oh,
there
wow.
we go.
There you go.
I mean, I can't believe that there's anybody 18 to 24. What?
But you have grandkids, Bruce?
So you think they accidentally?
Oh, let's see, Grandpa Bruce. We're gonna listen. Oh my God, took
Actually,
2 minutes. And
that would be
all
that would
those-
be the
all those
5 to 13 demo. But
All those
okay.
demographics seem to be divisible by 3. So
There we
I think-
go. That's fine.
I've got to try to figure out the number that Spotify
I love the
won't
way
tell
that
us.
I love the way you reduce fractions. It's great. It's terrific.
So,
Okay.
without going back to the biggest jump in demographic, because it went from 1 to 2%. We grew by 100% in 18 to 20.
My goodness,
Wow. So we got
Wow.
another one.
We got
that is terrific.
major jump, but to look how numbers can look impressive yet not be that impressive.
Yes, I love it. Absolutely.
All right, our next
We're running out of time, Chris. So
all right, so our last one. How many countries were we in? How many countries?
oh right, I forgot how many we were in last year. And are there new countries from last year? Are there more countries in the world? Were there any created? I believe Syria disappeared, but are there any new countries? I'm going to say we're in 4 countries.
I was going to say 3.
We are in 6 countries.
Wow.
Wrong
Can
one.
you tell us the countries?
Yeah, hold on a second. I can get that data. How long we have left, Bruce?
12 seconds.
Oh, all right.
2 seconds a country. Well, we'll save it for the next.
We'll save that for the
segment.
next one.
A little teaser. A little
Absolutely.
teaser.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap.
Actually,
And,
the Spotify rap.
The Spotify wrap we're continuing with right now. And
I'm sure you remember where we left off, Bruce.
well, I know that it was, I think it was a chapter in the book, How to Lie with Statistics, as I recall. So, but I'm loving those percentages.
We were talking that the United States was the top country of where people listened, but you wanted to know where else people listened.
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick look at that. And it's, not much outside of the United States. But we still want to, you said you have family in, where'd you have family?
I had family in the Philippines, but unfortunately he died.
Well, see,
but he
passed it on to
listened.
somebody else, yeah.
Or no, he was alive for some of 2024, I think.
Oh.
But I don't think we're going to hear it next year.
I think I know our listener in Germany.
Might be 2 listeners if there's we're upping that to 2%.
Huh.
That's fantastic. And so the other countries were Taiwan, which will be part of China next year, right? And
Canada,
then,
which will be part of the U.S. next year.
Exactly, 51st state. Excuse me, Australia.
What about Greenland?
Yeah, that's part of the United States.
We are
too.
52nd state. Yeah, they think they're going to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states to get more Democrat voters. We're going to have Greenland and Taiwan.
Just as a show of faith, a good faith gesture to the Trump administration, I'm willing to forfeit all our listeners in Mexico for next year. I'm willing to make that sacrifice if it'll help. If just a good faith gesture.
You're a diplomat.
Yes, I am.
The next thing is what other shows do people listen to this show?
They also love.
They also
maybe my other podcast, Another Day Above Ground, the show for baby boomers.
There you go. Can you give us a little sample? Even is that true? First of all, Chris?
No, it's not true.
Okay, so but give us a sample. What is that show about?
Tim.
Oh, it's a show for baby boomers. We talk about things that are interesting to baby boomers. Things we grew up with. things we remember, music we liked, and we also have advice for how to pick a Medicare provider, how to
exactly.
yeah,
20 episodes on
it-
the JFK assassination.
sure.
Things that touch the boomers.
No, we have made jokes about it though.
Oh, no way to parlay your conspiracy theories into that show too.
As you know, of your conspiracy theories, that might be my favorite, which is that the Secret Service agent accidentally discharged the weapon, just like we were talking about recently about the Secret Service agent who may have shot 6 times in her own pants.
The same one
The
that couldn't
second
holster a weapon
assassin
at the
of
assassination.
Trump.
Yeah, that was the visual I was trying to create
Remember-
there. Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
I guess
but remember, your theory, I believe, was.
Oh, you
or
want my
where
assassination
it's not
theory?
your own. I know
No,
your
no.
JFK assassination theory is the Secret Service agent was climbing on the car and his gun accidentally discharged and shot Kennedy in the head. Am I right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Sure.
then from that distance, it ricocheted and did all the damage that the magic bullet was supposed to.
Sure.
And that's why they buried it, was to protect the reputation of the Secret Service agent, because they knew it was an accident.
I think, this is all going to come out during Trump's administration. This and Epstein's Island, everything's coming out in the Trump administration. I hope we'd have like one reveal a month, not too much, too soon, so that we can digest it and have a little fun with it, and it'll keep our minds off the fact that prices are skyrocketing because of all these tariffs and the longshoremen's union contract. But anyway, all right. So what's the
shows that people listen to? There's the top 5. Let's start with number 5, Bruce's favorite.
Oh yeah,
Tucker Carlson. People also listen to Tucker Carlson. I don't know how, when Bruce talks bad about him every episode, but somehow people like both of those shows.
Yeah, they like to wrap their heads.
I got another guess.
Go ahead.
Steve Bannon.
Also incorrect.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
How about
you don't listen to this show, Chris?
how about
quality control check every now and
then? Joe Rogan, since everybody listens to him, that's actually like a sane guess.
All right, that's a decent guess. So let's go through here's 4 and 3, which are 2 decent ones.
Real Coffee with Scott Adams. Okay. And also Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan
I found that one very interesting, that the WIND still in there.
A lot of former Howard Miller fans, Dave Baum, still like to listen to what's on WIND, I guess.
And then here is 2 and 1. I was surprised by the second one, but as you said, with the first one, everybody listens to
Joe Rogan. Oh, and Victor Davis Hanson.
Yeah, that'd have been an interesting one.
So Dan Proft and I once interviewed Victor Davis Hanson, just to close the loop on this, on WLS when we had the WLS show. And, we thought he was great. I mean, I always loved Victor Davis Hanson. The program director, whom I really like a lot, still like him, but he comes in and he says, "That's not really good." The guy was dry. He was boring. Okay. And Dan and I looked at each other like, wait, that's what we think is great radio. Oops. But here's the problem. And just to close the loop even further until it's one big knot. So you mentioned Tucker Carlson. So Megyn Kelly has had to try and thread the needle or straddle whatever because Tucker Carlson has said things like Winston Churchill was the villain in World War II. And she even admitted that Victor Davis Hanson would not say that. And she likes to interview Victor Davis Hanson. Matter of fact, I think she just interviewed him the other day. So I want to know how Megyn Kelly reconciles all that. And I think
Bruce, you're doing
doesn't
bad media.
really.
You're doing bad media. Bruce, Tucker had a person on who said there's an argument to be made that Winston Churchill is the villain because he allowed the slaughter of these people to happen because he did nothing to prevent it to begin with. So Tucker didn't say it. He brought on a historian.
Oh my goodness. I mean, now who's being naive, Kay? And that's why Tucker goes to Moscow and talks about how wonderful the grocery stores are, and that's why he presents January 6th as just being a walk through the hallways. I mean, he's just asking questions. That's the famous Tucker Carlson line. No, I'm sorry. No, hey, we could end. How about we end the year of just me screaming? Because that seems to be was our number one show. All right. Anyway, so anyway, I love how Meghan tries to reconcile, and the reason I think she just wants to be popular again, so she'll talk to disparate people and seemingly agree with all of them,
so she could afford food. The poor thing.
Oh, it's terrible. And me. What's my motive? I just don't like the fact that she's a pretty blonde and I'm not. And she made $30 million from NBC. And you know how many more millions of dollars she made from NBC than I made? Oh yeah, it's a few. It's absolutely a few. But okay, any other statistics here?
What on Spotify, what do our listeners listen to genre-wise for music? And no Broadway show tunes is not in here. I was disappointed for you, Bruce.
Well, I'm thinking since you guys like Helter Skelter, I found out that they probably listen, probably big band. I'm thinking 1940s Glenn Miller. Am I right?
Close to Broadway, we did get soundtracks in here.
Yacht rock.
Yacht rock.
I was shocked that rock. I thought classic rock obviously would be in there, but yacht rock number one, and then soundtracks.
Huh. What are you mean soundtracks to movies or something?
I assume soundtracks to movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
like John Williams doing Star Wars.
Right. By the way, what do you guys think of the new Superman theme? Is that?
I haven't even heard it.
I think it's basically a reprise of the old one. But I saw the trailer for the new Superman. It was interesting that Superman and Sammy Sosa both came back at the same time. I thought that, and they're both artificially pumped by performance enhancing drugs. Anyway, any other statistics to regale us with?
Last one. So okay. I want to leave you on a good note. We are the top 10 show for 49 fans. So 49 people we are a top 10 show for. That's a positive statistic to let you go into your new year.
We're a top 10 show for 49 fans. Well,
I don't know how many shows you listen to. I don't think I only listen to 10, but
well, I plagiarize, as you know, from the commentary podcast.
And then we're top 5. We're top 5 of 38 if you want to whittle it down a little more. So
top 5 for 38 fans.
Wow.
And are we a top 1 for anybody?
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that.
And that's the weekly wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The weekly wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.